All right, sir. I believe we are live. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, John. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. We have today Mr. Michael Brown, Regional Director, Community Engagement and Partnerships with the Epilepsy Foundation. And I'm coming to you from Tallahassee, Florida. Michael Brown is coming to you from Tampa, Florida, as he said, just a rock throw away, stone's throw away. So we definitely have more chopping up to do after today, especially with being so close. So I always promise to give very brief intros. I like the speakers to do it the real justice. So, Mr. Brown, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My role with the Epilepsy Foundation is to increase awareness about epilepsy and its impact on our community. Epilepsy tends to be one of those disorders that has been slowly evolving and coming to the front as far as people not really understanding that 1 in 26 individuals is impacted directly by epilepsy. And so what we're simply trying to do is to provide a platform for people to come speak out and share.
Yeah, Mr. Evans shared that with me the other day. We got a chance to talk. Lowell Evans and I talked on Wednesday, and I was sharing the stat that the Epilepsy Foundation shared with me: the 1 in 10 people will experience a seizure in their lifetime, not specifically related to epilepsy, but just seizures in general. And he shared with me that 1 in 26 would be affected by epilepsy. That is a huge number.
Yeah, and according to the CDC, here in the state of Florida alone, well over 800,000 people right now are impacted by epilepsy, directly impacted.
Wow.
And it never surprises me to walk into a room full of people and literally bump into at least 3 or 4 on every occasion. Once they learn of my role and what I do, then people start to open up and to share.
Yeah, a lot of people with similar situations, similar connections that we probably don't always know is the case unless we start having discussion about it and communicating. And as Mr. Evans and I spoke about, just increasing information, education, and awareness.
Yes, yes. So when you talk to people, for the most part, when you say epilepsy, most people think about one type of episode.
Right.
And that's what we call the grand mal seizure. It's an all-out body shake on the ground, very scary for those, especially those that have not experienced it or been around someone at that level. But what people don't know is that there are over 40 types of seizures out there.
Wow.
Yeah, and everybody's always looking for that one. And I can't tell you the number of stories that we receive on a regular basis where teachers, our law enforcement officers, community leaders, anyone who's working with children, come to understand that, oh, well, we thought they were just, ignoring our request or
Or
looking out the
zoning out.
window.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
yeah, and that's not the case. Why weren't they following our commands? Now we hear that a lot with the law enforcement
Yes.
too. And we've trained and we work with law enforcement throughout the state. They have their own internal controls and mechanism regarding training, but we tend to bring an outside element which helps with the understanding and educating.
Absolutely. We were, especially in an environment today and even prior to today, I think today has just been, more awareness of some of the challenges and complexities that have been going on with law enforcement and people of color, and specifically men of color. But Mr. Evans was speaking about, a specific situation that happened with him where he was in a car, side of the road, realized, he was having an episode that was coming on, decided to park and, create a safe situation for himself,
Right.
and woke up in the back of a police car. And, our point in that discussion, which you just said, if it was a situation where it was something that was not him just, losing consciousness in a sense, or
Right.
kind of fading out, blacking out in that sense. And it was something more physical, and
Hmm.
that could be a very challenging scenario, depending on if the law enforcement is educated on what's going on or not. They could just think somebody's being, non-responsive, as in
Right.
his case, or
Right.
even, as people would say, non-compliant, which is a whole nother discussion that you and I can have. But if somebody were being non-compliant and they were trying to deal with something that was very much out of their education and awareness in that sphere, that could be a very dangerous situation
Yeah.
for him in that situation, and many people.
Yeah, which is why it's important for us to continue to carry this message forward, and to create a safe platform and a safe environment for someone to come forward. So John, this epilepsy reminds me of back when cancer was first realized, how impactful and how penetrating it had become within our communities. Um, in the African American community, it was more of a hush hush, in the closet type of thing. I mean, so you don't share that outside this house, keep that in the house, keep that. Well, of course, now you look around and what's happening with cancer. Well, everybody has on pink socks, pink shoes, pink
Yes.
shirts. Yeah, the platform has been created and it's safe now to come out.
Yes. Yep.
There's treatments all over the place, at every level.
Support.
Support is there totally. And so that's what I compare this evolution of this with epilepsy. We're not there yet. We're not at the cancer awareness support level yet across the board. But boy, are we making progress. And this is why it's important for individuals and platforms like this with you to talk about it and to encourage our communities to step up. Because I can tell you now, in the African American community, that same approach is happening right now with epilepsy, what I
Yes.
just described previously.
And
Uh,
should. And
yeah,
should.
yeah, and so we've got work to do.
Plenty.
Yeah, and everybody has a part to play in this. Everyone.
Indeed. So our platform, Black Men's Health, at the core of it, we're about creating more balance through health for men of color, specifically Black men. And to your point, having relevant subject matter experts, relatable subject matter experts are vital, right? I mean, people need to know there is somebody to approach. There is a support group. There is a community. There is a village, as Mr. Evans and I spoke about. There is a village that can be there for more information, for access, for approachability, and having individuals like you and Mr. Evans be in leadership that people can see and hear from is vital for awareness and education.
Yeah. So I'll share with you a quick story about. This is an African American celebrity. Called our hotline and shared with them that, hey, I have epilepsy. It took me a long time to realize that's what that was happening with me. But now I know, and I want a program here locally in my state, in my community. How can we do this? So they forwarded on to me. Long story short, he has a real platform.
Yes.
To get this message out. So a couple of things that came out that stood out to me. One was he was concerned how to talk to his son. He had a teenage son that he had not shared it with. So that was one. The other thing was it didn't impact his self-esteem to the point where he shut down, but it delayed him coming forward.
Right.
And so his message was, help me to help others that look like me and that may reside in the community like I do, but don't know how to come out. So we're in the process now. So my first point to him was, let's talk about your son. because as African American men, there are some things that some of us, we don't know how to talk to our young children about, especially something of this magnitude and level, because this can be life-changing for some.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I kept saying to him was, hey, first of all, you just need to keep it simple. Let's not complicate the matter. It's a seizure. And what is a seizure? A seizure is not deadly. It is an episode that happens, and for the most part, 3 to 5 minutes is the time frame that it lasts. That's number one. Number two, you want to get him trained, get him in front of people like me and others.
That's right.
And get him certified. Why? Anybody that and I said this to everyone, but anyone that's around you, and if you're epileptic or you have seizures, you want to have them trained and understand what's going on. So if something happens to you, they will know how to respond.
Indeed.
And I said this to college students across the board every time in your groups. You guys need to, everybody in that group needs to be trained. So anyway, so long story short, he and I talked, and he understood. And so we're on that path now to start to do that. And then we started down the road of, him grappling with how to move forward. And one of the things that I kept reiterating to him, and this is a disclaimer for anyone who's listening to this, always check with your primary care physician.
Right.
Before you do anything, always do that first, no matter what the experts may say in the training sessions. And so don't leave here, go take medication that you have not discussed and have not been approved with your primary care physician if you have epilepsy or someone in your family. Stay very close to them and follow their strict guidelines for your treatment.
Indeed. Well, let me speak a little bit about the training piece. You referenced that training is so vital and important. The Epilepsy Foundation recently launched the first and only seizure recognition and first aid certification training to support the 3.4 million people in the U.S. living with epilepsy. The free seizure recognition and first aid certification training provides information to increase the knowledge, skills, and confidence in recognizing seizures and safely administering seizure first aid. The program is part of the Epilepsy Foundation's efforts to end epilepsy, which we see on your background right there, and ensuring the safety and well-being of people with epilepsy. So there is an upcoming training that's one of the things we're here to talk about today. Seizure first aid training, Wednesday, June 9th, so next week, 3 p.m. Eastern. June is Men's Health Month. We wanted to make sure that in collaboration with Black Men's Health and the Epilepsy Foundation that we could speak more to this and bring more awareness to this. Next week, Mr. Brown, not only you will be doing a training, but also Mr. Luis Garcia doing training and moderating next week. And for registration, you can go to the Epilepsy Foundation's website at epilepsy.com, but also you can hit a short URL, the bit.ly/SFA June 9. So please make sure that you spread that message, everyone listening. And Mr. Brown, why don't you tell us more about next week's training?
Yeah, so there are 4 objectives to the training. It will last between an hour and 15 to an hour and a half. The first objective is to help the community to define seizures and epilepsy, because there are differences between the two. Everyone that has a seizure doesn't mean that they have epilepsy. So we will help you to define that. The second is, and this is a big one, that we will teach you the correct and incorrect steps for helping anyone that has a seizure. I can't tell you the number of times people say to me the first thing that they would do is to pick up the phone and call 911. That is so not the first thing to do. So we will help you with the correct steps. The third thing is to identify when you should pick up the phone and call 911. And then the fourth thing is to increase the confidence of the person that's helping the individuals with seizure. What we don't want you to do is to be on a scene and someone starts to have a seizure and you become paralyzed.
Right.
Because you don't know what to do and you're afraid to step in and to help. We want to help you with that, and we can with this training.
I love that confidence piece, right? That knowledge, skills, and confidence. Mr. Evans and I were speaking, and I remember even in CPR training, also emergency management training, all of those things are getting you more familiar on a blue sky sunny day. So when you're in a scenario, you can respond with awareness and confidence. And to
Yeah.
your point, knowing what to do when you realize what's going on, having that information, that education, that awareness of what's going on. Oh, this is happening, and then have the confidence to be able to respond. So critical.
Yeah, yeah, so and along the lines of with Men's Month here, I when I think men should understand too that there are three key areas that are impacted, and if you have epilepsy and you seek a support group, uh, you will gain some support and understanding of how to move forward with connecting better with your primary care physician. If you don't have the neurologist or the optometrist that you need, you can find that through. We can help with that too. So you pick up the phone and dial our 24/7 helpline. In your area, we can help guide you a little bit too. So if you don't have those services, the social impact, the social economic impact in the African American community, Hispanic community, nothing changes with that in the sense of those are the hardest hit areas, those on the lower end of that social economic totem pole. So those are hit harder. So the medication there is harder to come by. Doctor appointments are harder to come by. Transportation is harder to come by. And so we try to help with that across the country in certain areas. But part of this training too will help. And I go specifically for men that may be struggling with their self-esteem and confidence a little bit here.
Yes.
The sexual function of the impact of this disorder, how that impacts you from that perspective, the fertility in men, that's important. And then the fatherhood of living with epilepsy. So how do I deal with this as a father, as the breadwinner, and I'm no longer, I can't even drive myself to the store, and
Yes.
I can't drive myself to work. I got to depend. So these are real issues. And a lot of your support will come out of these support groups. And now, if there are not support groups, give us a call and talk to us about how to help form one. I mean,
how to connect.
Yeah, that's right. So we're in this virtual world now, and so we can help and reach out across the network, which we're nationwide. And so feel free to reach out to us. But all of this training will trigger some of this thinking and help you gain your confidence in dealing with your disorder or someone in your family. So this training is more than just a one-way avenue.
Bigger than that. We have found in Black men's health, in some research we've done, that men in general, and specifically Black men, are very indifferent about their health, right? A lot of us know we should be doing better. We could be doing better, but taking those steps to do better is something different, right? Especially to your point, if you're the breadwinner, especially if you are, leading the charge in, protecting and covering and providing for the family. If you are dealing with that and balancing out, should I be, going to the gym or swimming or running or whatever, maybe not doing what we need to be doing to taking our medication regularly, trying to balance all those things. Sometimes we're very indifferent. We know we should do better. We know we could do better, but we're just not doing better. And what we have found is that, and that's why we put, Black men's health is about, Black men and those who care and love, care for and love, or care about and love Black men, because those around us sometimes care more about our health and our health and well-being more than us. So it's definitely important to build that village, to build that network, to build that, that connectivity, that connective tissue, to make sure that we can not only have people around us to communicate with and connect with, to learn from, but also people to support us and understand what we're doing and what we're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so if anyone is interested in starting a training group, I mean, I'll come in and train you to become an instructor.
A trainer.
Train the trainer. and you go out and use us as support. Let us help you to gain some momentum and some traction in your community. The Seizure Safe School across the country, we're now in about 12 states have passed that law for us to be in their schools statewide. So we'll be working on Florida here shortly. We're working on North Carolina right now. And so there are some other states that we have teed up that we're trying to get into. And so this is important stuff. We're on college campuses at FSU. We have a network there, which is why we want to get to FAMU
let's do
as
it.
well. Yeah.
Let me help. Let me help, sir.
Yep. Yep. And UF, we're on UF campus as we speak. We're rolling the ball out right now at UF. UCF, we're already there. UCF here in Tampa, and we're about to spread that out on every campus across this area, the Bay Area. So we want to help establish a platform for our young and old to come out and feel safe and have the confidence to step up. I am working with so many young people on our college campuses. You would not, most people, I say this to a lot of folk, most people would not believe that the individuals that I know, because of the role that I'm in, that are directly impacted by epilepsy, they would not know that when they see these individuals on the street, around the tables, the boardrooms, what have you, they would not know that. So there is help out here and support. We just need to get you plugged in.
Yeah, I would assume when you spoke about the college campuses, that could be so impactful because, you know, students don't want to feel different, right? You're
right.
already trying to find your way when you hit the campus, and wherever you're from, you're finding that there's so many different, you know, variables and so many different things to do and so many places to plug into, so many different levels of education and where people are coming from. You're already trying to find your way. So, you know, having other challenges that could make you different is very impactful, and that's in anything, right? That's in anything.
Right.
Whether that's a learning disability or you know, a health related issue or, you know, a speaking impediment, whatever it is,
right.
Being different is a challenge.
Right.
But finding your place in the world and finding that there are others that are like you and surviving and thriving, that's one of the best things about the college experience, right? Like realizing like I might not be as strong in this area, but man, I can excel in this area. I mean, for me, that was something that was very powerful. I thought I was doing real well in high school and get to college and found out that there are people that could just smoke me in math and English and other things, but finding my place that I could be a communicator and I could be a facilitator and liaising, you know, all of that was good to know that you can find your strengths and find your place in the world. That's very helpful. So I'm sure that the work that you're doing on college campus is just, you know, just so important.
Yeah. If you don't remember anything else that I say, anyone, take these three things away. If someone goes down with a seizure, there are three things. Stay safe side.
Stay safe.
Stay safe side. So always stay with them. Never leave them. No, I don't care what the situation is, never leave them. Yell, scream for somebody else to do something. That's one. Keep them safe, number two. So the last thing you want to do, so I've heard people say, well, shouldn't we hold them down to keep them from rolling all over the place? No. Should we put something in their mouth to keep them from swallowing their tongue? Absolutely not. And when you think about that comment, it is physically impossible to do that. So that's totally off the table. What you want to do is keep them safe. What do I mean when I say that? You want to move obstacles from around them. Make sure that their head is not about to bump into some hard object. So if you need to put your jacket or something down as a cushion somewhere between them, do that. You want to stay safe, keep them safe, and keeping them safe means protect them from embarrassing themselves too during that time frame, because they have no idea that they lost their bowels or their controls, or if they have on garment that it is exposing themselves. You want to keep them safe. That's number two. And then the last thing is, if 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 they're still going through or having convulsions, you want to get them on their side. Get them on their side to they try to clear their airways, allow their airways to clear.
Okay.
So stay safe side. If you don't remember anything else I say to you, yeah, remember that.
Stay safe side.
That's right. 3 S's.
Very important. The part about safe, the part about safe is, man, that is that hit me hard, and that can, you know, just that can be beyond this discussion, right? Because when you talk about safety, you're not only talking about physical safety, right? Or even safety in the sense of maybe environmentally something that could happen, but you're also talking about really kind of, you know, post scenario,
right.
Post event, you know, kind of social, right? And
right.
Emotional safety, and just taking care of somebody, right? Realizing that somebody is having an episode in whatever it might be. Specifically, we're talking about a seizure, but we could be talking about whatever in life, and just protecting people, covering them, right? As we would want somebody to cover us in moments where we might have lost control or not be in control. That is that's a word right there, Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
The fact, especially with so much social media and access to cameras and video and things of that nature, not having something that somebody wants to use as content, but really realizing that somebody is going through a challenge right now in the moment, and seeing if you could be helpful in covering them and protecting them.
That's right. And that's why, if you have this disorder, your friends, your family members, every last one of them should be trained. Every last one of them. There's no reason why they should not be. I mean, they should be the first ones in line to be trained. And you want that. And again, I can't tell you how many times I reiterate that message to specifically my young folk, because of some of the things that you just outlined, from an emotional recovery perspective. So if you're talking about self-esteem, and if you're already trying now, there's no scientific evidence that because you have epilepsy that you will have low self-esteem. That's not what I'm saying. But the obvious thing is, if you have these challenging disorders that you cannot control, that it has to have some mental impact, especially on those that are first introduced to it, is what we see. The devastation of the families. I was on a call yesterday here in the state of Florida. On a call yesterday, young mom and her mother reaching out desperately because they had just learned that their infant was diagnosed with epilepsy. Infant. And so I listened to them, and my heart went out to them because they had not a clue of what to do. And it took them a while to figure out to get to us, to pick up the phone and to call our helpline. And so those types of families, I mean, we're fortunate that we have funding here in the state, from the state, to help with the case management and the support and the mental health counseling for families within our area. So we're very fortunate, but that's not everywhere. And so again, as the more we can advocate, create these platforms, reach out and partner with other community leaders. Pick up the phone, call us. We want to call you. I'm here in the state of Florida. I will be reaching out. I mean, we're everywhere. We try to be, as far as where are our partners at? Where are the chambers? Florida Chamber, we're a part of the Florida Chamber. Where are the local business, the law firms in the business industry? We're reaching out to everyone to come. Anyone else who's servicing epileptic families and clients, we want to work with you too. So we can't do this work alone. It's a lot of work to be done. 800,000 people, over 800,000, that's a lot of work to be done here in the state of Florida.
Over 800,000 people. Wow. I love the fact that you also referenced in the sense of, you know, it's great that you all have these trainings, but also you can create other scenarios to provide training wherever they are, right? You can create that and train the trainer and have them, you know, provide that to their community and their surrounding.
That's right. That's right. And so we're anxious to do that. There are 5 buckets that we bring to the table no matter where we are. At a minimum, we bring these 5 buckets to the table. Seizure first aid training. I don't care where you are in the state. Pick up the phone, call us. We can help with that. Advocacy. So we advocate across the state for legislation that positively impacts families and individuals dealing with epilepsy. No one else is doing this at our level. Our information and referral service, the 24/7 that I keep talking about. I can't tell you the number of times people are calling all sorts of night, all sorts of time, doesn't matter. And we're able to help them. We have someone on that line 24/7, knowledgeable of how to get them what they're looking for, their support, whether we're delivering the support or not, but we can help with that. And then the suit up and bereavement support. That's another big one. So you can actually die from epilepsy. Now, everyone doesn't die from epilepsy, but there is sudden unexpected death of epilepsy where individuals will go to sleep and they won't wake the next day, where they have had a seizure during the time of sleep, of rest. And I can't tell you how many families, matter of fact, the first one, when I first joined this organization, the first individual that told me was a leader in our African-American community that told me that. And he was very quiet about it, and which is fine, I get it and I understand it. She pulled me aside and shared that with me. I was doing what I normally do, introducing myself to a group, talking, and then he pulled me aside and said, hey, you touched me with what you said. And then he shared it with me. So I said, I know it's happening, but we're very quiet about it. And what we want to do is take the lid off and start talking more about it to help others. So in the last one is the research and innovation piece. We invest heavily into research. We're the only epileptic organization at this that's researching and creating therapies, instruments to help those with epilepsy. No one else is doing it at the level that we're doing. If they are, we want to see it. I want to see it because I want to learn about it, and we want to get it to our clients if it's working. But those 5 things, those 5 buckets, we bring to the table no matter where we are. And some places we go deeper because we have the funding. Other places, this is what we bring to the table. And so we look for other partners to come to the table and to say, hey, here are the 5 things we're bringing. These are some big items here. These are some big ticket items. No one else is doing this in this state. But if you could do something else to support this, then we want to talk about it.
What is the best way to find those resources? Is it going to the website epilepsy.com, or
Yes.
what are your recommendations?
Yes, that's the first place. And if you have a local rep or local staff, such as myself, pick up the phone and call us. I mean, but the website is number 1.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you're here in the state of Florida, I want to hear from you.
And how do they hear from you? How do they contact you, Mr. Brown?
Yeah, so they can contact me at mbrown@efa.org.
Nice and simple.
Nice and simple. mbrown@efa.org. And my phone number, which it is public, it's on my all my emails, 813-787-9407. That's 813-787-9407. We're serious about this. I've been in nonprofit for almost 27 plus years. I know how to do nonprofit, and if I don't understand one thing about nonprofit, anything about nonprofit, I understand one thing. We can't do this alone.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah,
We'll
so
be sure.
yeah,
We'll be sure to make sure we add that information to our website so people can contact you. Also,
yeah,
tell us a little bit about. Again, I know you have been in nonprofit work, and tell us a little bit about how you got to. What's the journey to get here, and how long have you been
yeah.
with the Epilepsy Foundation?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee, born and raised there. Uh, was recruited to join the YMCA to start an urban outreach program. Fast tracked, got in, fast tracked my way through leadership, spent the next 17 years in Nashville working at the Y in urban communities and working with urban YMCAs, working with college campuses throughout Nashville, Vanderbilt, Fisk, Tennessee State University, all the likes. Built up a strong following, was recruited out of Nashville to go to Dallas, Texas. Went to Dallas, same thing. Spent some time in the urban communities in Dallas. Worked for 4 years there, was recruited, and I kid you not when I say that, everybody laughs when I say that, but was recruited out of Dallas to come here to Tampa to work in the urban communities here and build programs, build partnerships, raise money is the big thing with that. You can have all the wishes and dreams you want, but if you don't have any
That's right.
fuel to put in the tank, it doesn't work.
Got to have the resources. That's right.
That's right. And so when I got here in 09, my plan was to be here 2-3 years. Told the board that, hey, I'm here for 2-3 years, and I got to move on to the next assignment. Well, here it is now, 12 years later. It's called Kids.
Yes,
So I
I
have
know.
three.
I know about those. Yes.
So I have 3 student athletes, and 2 of them are now up at FSU.
All right.
My 2 daughters, and then my son remarried and married into, with my wife, married into 2 other beautiful girls in the family, and one is about to be a graduate assistant graduate at USF in speech pathology. And you said that earlier, made me think about her. So we have a beautiful family here in Tampa. As I was working at the Y, the mayor's office, left the Y, start my consulting business, again, working in urban schools. I went at Title I schools. I'm a Title I product. I'm an urban product. So I grew up in North Nashville, housing developments. And so when I left the Y, I left to go home to train my kids, number one, as athletes, and then to start my consulting business, and started my consulting business working in the Title I schools here in Hillsborough County, and doing some other nonprofit consulting. While I was doing that, the mayor's office under Buckhorn put my name in the hat to bring a national program here, youth serving program, out of LA. I reluctantly, because my handicap was going down at the time, I was spending time with my kids, but I accepted it because my name was put in the hat, went over, spent a couple of years, built the board, pitched the keys to someone else. And while pitching the keys, the Y came back, went back to the Y. I wanted to raise money. They needed me to raise money, asked me to raise money, which is one of my fortes. Leadership changed at the Y. They had different plans, which is perfectly fine. I understood all of that. Yeah.
Yes.
And when leadership changes, at the same time, someone picked up the phone, a recruiter picked up the phone and called me for a job here in the world of epilepsy. I had no understanding of what epilepsy was in 2018. Took a small fading organization here, independent organization. Fast forward, led an acquisition to merge with the national office. We are now one of the leading states in the country with what we're doing, and that includes board development, fundraising, programs, initiatives, you name it. I mean, we're fast tracking here in the state of Florida, and so people are giving me credit, but I give the credit to my volunteers. We have some of the top neurologists on our board across the state in helping people So you'll hear more about us because we just secured some a sponsorship package, $20,000 package to go on the air in certain parts of the state, with another
Great.
one in the wing. So we've got some things going on here.
Great. Well, you let me know how we can assist. We have some media campaigns in motion right now, more so for vaccine hesitancy and things of that nature with Black men's health. But obviously, when we see relationships that would benefit speaking to men of color, specifically Black men, we want to be a part of that. And just as you said, you were not very aware in 2018. I'm sure there's a lot of us that don't have that knowledge and access and awareness. And if we can help make sure that people are more educated and more informed and more aware, then I want to be a part of it, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we'd appreciate it very much.
And we have some work to do anyway. We got to connect. You start talking Nashville. We got a couple things going on in Nashville we need to talk about. And because you have girls up here, we need to talk about that also. So when you're in the area, let's make sure we sit down and say hello and see how we can continue to help you lead the charge, sir.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and I look forward to it, John, very much.
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We thank you for being here and helping us spread the good word. So again, in celebration of Men's Health Month in June, coming up, the Epilepsy Foundation has their seizure first aid training Wednesday, June 9th, 3 p.m. Eastern. So again, feel free to go to epilepsy.com or go to the short URL to bit.ly/SFA June 9. And Mr. Michael Brown, thank you again. We will make sure that we talk offline. We'll be sure to, again, include your information on the website and information going out, and keep up the good work, sir. We're grateful.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Respect.